Hello, I'm Dr. Anjali Bhatawdekar. I'm a pediatrician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Manoj Bhatawdekar. I'm a psychiatrist. In this series on parenting, we've been talking about food and food habits of children. And we have received some questions from parents. Here is a question that reads, my child eats only rice, no chapatis, no rotis. So, how will the child grow normally?
Many parents have these questions. There are some children who do not like rice at all. There are some children who do not like rotis at all. What we have to remember is the nutritional content of rice and wheat is almost similar. That is, the protein content, that the carbohydrate content of rice and wheat are almost equal. So it does not really matter if the child eats only rice or only rotis. It's perfectly fine if at home the child is allowed to eat only rotis or only rice. It is not going to affect him nutritionally at all. But you can make a deal with the child that supposing you're going out where the item that he does not like is the only thing which is available, then he should be eating that. Or the other thing which you can do is, supposing a child is not liking rice, then present the rice in a form which is more attractive, more palatable. Maybe you have to use your creativity for that. You can make items like, say, pulao or biryani, not every day, of course, but once in a while, which the child may be able to eat. In case of a child who does not like rotis, you could try parathas, theplas, puris, or some such items which the child is more likely to eat. But please do not force a child who doesn't like rice to eat rice. Please do not force a child who doesn't like rotis to eat rotis. It's perfectly okay even if the child eats only one of these items.
There is this second part of the question, which then says, okay, this is as far as rice and rotis are concerned. What about proteins? And do we give protein supplements to our children?
Okay, protein is a very important constituent of the nutrition of the child. Proteins are really important for the growth of the child. And we generally say that for a child who is, say, 15 kg, we need 15 grams of proteins in the diet. So 1 gram of protein per kilogram of the child. How do we meet these requirements? If the child is eating a balanced diet, generally there is no need to count proteins. It's only in cases of children who are not eating properly that we may have to calculate the protein content of the diet of the child. Now, which are the diets which are rich in proteins? The non-vegetarian diets, non-vegetarian items like eggs, fish, chicken, meat are rich in proteins, and in addition, non-vegetarian proteins are first-class proteins. What do we mean by first-class proteins? There are certain proteins that contain all the essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are amino acids that are needed for the growth of the body. So, if a particular food item contains all these amino acids, it is called a first class protein. And most of the non-vegetarian proteins are first class proteins. As against that, vegetarian proteins are available in fairly good amounts in pulses, dals, some amount in rice and wheat also, but they are not first class proteins. What does that mean? That means some of these essential amino acids are lacking in these items. So what do we do? Does it mean that every child has to be a non-vegetarian? No, obviously not. In case of vegetarian diets, there is one good news, and that is if we combine two vegetarian items, you can get all the essential amino acids from this. For example, if you combine dal with rice or make khichdi or some items like idlis and dosas, which are again a combination of rice and dal, then you can get all the essential amino acids from even the vegetarian diet. So just remember this when you are thinking of proteins in the diet of a child. Now, what are the good sources of proteins and which are easy for the child to eat? Let us remember that non-vegetarian proteins are less bulky as well as they have first-class proteins. So, for example, one egg contains almost 6 grams of proteins. So, if a child is eating one egg along with all the other normal diet, then it's easy to meet his protein requirements. For children who do not like non-vegetarian foods or who do not like even eggs, then make combinations of various foods which are rich in proteins. Dals and pulses are good in proteins, but remember that this dal should not be a thin dal. It has to be thick dal, what we call varad in Marathi. So that is a good thing. Or pulses, sprouted pulses, they are very good sources of proteins. There are certain traditional food items like Maharashtrians have thalipit, which is a combination of roasted dals of various kinds, and they are really good source of proteins. If you have dry fruits, again they are going to be good sources of proteins. Peanuts are again another good source of proteins. Peanuts, chickpeas, they are good sources. For children who like sweets, you can make roasted peanuts, grind them, and make small laddus with it. And that will also give a good amount of protein to the child. So, just creative thinking using your common sense can meet the protein requirements of a child, and there's absolutely no need to give any protein supplements to any child whatsoever.
This is insofar as home cooked food is concerned. What about the protein supplements which are advertised rampantly? Powders which have to be added to milk, and the boy says, I am a healthy boy, the girl says, I am a healthy girl. What about all these supplements? As medical students, we used to do these calculations, which were very interesting. All these advertisements which claim that 1 or 2 teaspoonfuls of their powdered supplement added to milk is a full meal for a child. What about these claims? So, if you examine the contents of one jar or one tin of such powders, which claim to have huge quantities of proteins and vitamins and minerals that a child needs, you will realize that 200 grams of this powder contains about 18 grams of proteins. Consider a child who weighs between 15 and 20 kilograms, and this child's protein requirements per day would be about 15 to 20 grams. If this protein requirement per day has to be met only using these protein powders, the so-called supplements, the child would require to eat half a dabba, half a tin, half a jar of the protein supplement. Is it feasible? Is it affordable? So, our advice is drop all these advertised packaged foods, supplements, make tasty foods at home, prepare your own foods, prepare your own advertisements, and circulate them on social media. And children love this food which is prepared at home if it is presented in an attractive manner. So wise parenting is creative parenting. Wise parenting is thoughtful parenting. Wise parenting is using a lot of common sense. Wise parenting is grateful parenting. And gratitude is such an important emotion when it comes to food. If the entire family enjoys a meal together with a lot of reverence, respect for food, as well as the person who has cooked food at home, mealtime becomes really enjoyable and far from being a wartime. More about food in our subsequent episodes.